This is the story of how I made my short film, Rocket Rider. Making it has been a steep learning curve and taught me skills I never thought I'd master. But its origins start with another film project.
This is the Crash Spitfire set. It really is mind-blowing how good this is.
But that all ended in failure 5 years ago, in 2011.
Well, it's 3 days before our shoot, and I've just been shafted by one of our suppliers.
Shooting camera tests for Rocket Rider in my back garden proved it was impossible to film the cockpit scenes outside.
I'm up to speed.
Not only do I need precise control of the light, I also need to avoid the rain. So for the second time in 2 months,
That's good.
the set is moved again. Totally ignoring my own demands, as I can only film this sequence in a large space, I set up in my parents' single garage. It's the only option I have. Electrics rewired, cockpit rebuilt. We're finally ready for action. On the 30th of September 2014, 3 years after my first idea,
Action.
filming finally begins with actor Stephen Michael Critchley.
Right. Good. You've broken my set, don't worry about it.
The cramped conditions make it very difficult,
Hand off.
but we make good progress. Cockpit shots in the can. We move to a blue screen set that I built in a nearby orchard to film the parachute sequence. After suspending Stephen from a strong tree,
Okay, now look up to parachute canopy. Good.
we shoot the whole sequence in less than an hour. Filming the cockpit in the garage was hard, but to film the ejection seat there will be impossible. So a few days later, the ejection seat is moved to a village hall, and we shoot the sequence here. Having space again feels like a total luxury.
For some reason today it's really kind of pulling it down. It doesn't like hair plastics or anything.
Kind of really pull it on my hand.
Start tracking now.
Now armed with a new jib arm, dolly and track,
Action.
filming is sped up enormously.
Looking, seeing the plane disappearing below you.
With most of Stephen's scenes now filmed,
That's really good.
I feel like I should be celebrating.
Cut.
But the truth is, this is only the beginning. I have a long way to go before the film is finished.
Right, let's go.
I begin ingesting the rushes into DaVinci Resolve to start editing. The footage recorded on the Blackmagic Cinema camera looks amazing. But editing will have to wait.
No!
I need to go back to London to edit Web of Lies. A new year and I'm back home in my edit suite. I begin editing the rushes in Avid. It's a weird stage as everything is still on blue screen and some of the shots are still just titles on the screen. Some of which I still don't know how I'll film or create. It's a good job I need some thinking space.
Tell me the truth. I am your confessor.
As I'm off to London to edit Witch Hunt. After 10 weeks in London, it's now time to move the selected takes into Adobe After Effects to begin the film's visual effects. Somehow, using a combination of keying, rotoscoping, and computer graphics, I have to create the illusion of a pilot falling through the atmosphere. It's slow and complicated work, but eventually, with a bit of trial and error, I'm beginning to create the shots I had always imagined. Even items that appear in the background need to be created, such as the aircraft's panoramic and primary flight display. My next technical problem is how to film the parachutes. Not knowing how to do fabric simulation in 3D, I need a way to physically create the effect for real. First, I suspend the drogue parachute by wires. But even with an industrial fan working at full speed, it just doesn't work. My next idea is to tow the drogue parachute behind my car at speed. But that doesn't work either. My last resort is to try using stop motion animation. Thankfully, it works. The next challenge is to film the close-ups of the main parachute. Being designed to lower a man safely back to Earth makes this quest even more difficult.
You alright with that?
My dad picks a short straw and acts as a human anchor. Next time, I'll find 2 volunteers. Slowly but surely, the film is getting better and better. Even though I find it frustrating, having big breaks in the film's production means I can reevaluate what I'm doing more objectively. I'm also now reaping the benefits of buying the ejection seat and keeping the set.
We're in an old disused garage in Honeybourne. The film's edited as just a few shots that we haven't got. So we're doing pickups today. It's good to have the set rebuilt. It's been a year in storage and it's survived remarkably well, which I'm quite surprised about, really. Maybe my DIY skills aren't as bad as I thought they were.
My visual effects skills are also improving. So with Stephen back on set, I filmed some new composite shots that I didn't have the knowledge to create a year ago.
Okay, and action! And action!
Adding these new elements to the film will help give a sense of scale to the jet aircraft.
X-ray 001, eject.
Eject.
The engine's exploded.
Next on the schedule is the film's finale, the pilot crashing through the tree canopy. But by the time we finish filming the studio shots, sunset is fast approaching. I change plans and get Stephen's final shot instead. Unbeknown to me, this will be his last filming day on Rocket Rider. The next part of the shoot is the hardest thing I've ever filmed. With Stephen not available, I become his stand-in and film the tree canopy sequence on my own. Filming is hard work and doesn't go entirely to plan. But with a little help from visual effects, I eventually create the sequence I want. Exactly a year after the original shoot, I have finally filmed the ending to my film. Back in my edit suite, I'm constantly fine cutting and working through my list of shot amendments. It's amazing how a couple of frames can make all the difference. Perfecting the opening sequence is very hard. Working out what information does and doesn't need to be said and how to show it seems to take an age. Combined with long renders and trying to perfect the correct speed of the falling jet makes this a very time-consuming sequence. In the end, I just keep the key facts, highlighting the altitude and location, and dump references to the backstory. I've also cut a sci-fi scene that hints at the original Doppelgänger story. As my VFX skills are also getting better, I've also improved some of the earlier shots. I have to be careful though, this could be a never-ending cycle. But as the film gets closer to completion, the knowledge that I failed to make Doppelgänger is a constant nagging thought. Even though what I have learnt and achieved has been huge, without a proper story arc, the sequence will be flimsy to a viewer. I'm beginning to worry that the current ending with the pilot walking into the sunset is a flat anticlimax to the film. So revisiting the test day rushes, I create a second aircraft and revoice Stephen with Dominic Skinner. With my newfound confidence in creating visual effects, I decide to create a fun introduction to the second jet. I'm also experimenting with two characters that I originally wrote for Doppelgänger. To see if my idea works, I've created a basic previs sequence. Playing both characters myself, I film it on my iPhone and cut it into the film.
X-ray 001 is just ejected. Oh hi, 20.
I now have two new characters. Even with my dodgy acting, it's reassuring to know that before I shoot a frame, the sequence works in context with the rest of the film. I quickly buy some props and costumes on eBay.
Wow! Look at those!
I just need to find two more actors and a location.
Follow me. So this has been quite a frantic few days trying to get this set ready. A few last minute problems trying to make the DVDs for the preview screens. I found out that if you don't have audio on the DVD, it crashes it, but I managed to sort it out, so that's a huge relief. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, I think this radar control room will just about pass, which is basically my edit suite. I just kind of played around with some quick times. Nick, I'm up to speed, so action. Roger, Nick.
X-ray 001.
After a frantic search, I cast Nick Lancaster
Action, Roger.
and Roger Harding.
We have a pilot in trouble. Initiate immediate...
Rocket Rider will never be perfect,
Action.
X-ray 001, this is Tower.
but the addition of these extra scenes totally transform my film.
Over.
Action, Roger.
The last few weeks have been hard work and I've made a lot of progress.
Immediate action plan.
But once more, I have to down tools and head back to London
I'm not my wife.
to edit The Six Queens of Henry VIII. Sometimes I think this film will never end, and after each break it takes longer to get back up to speed. But thankfully, the end is now in sight. On the 25th of February 2016, I finally picture-locked the offline edit of Rocket Rider. Now it's just the last hurdle. final post-production. Rocket Rider is graded in DaVinci Resolve. Gwyn Evans does the lion's share, but also takes time out to teach me.
We have a pilot in trouble. Eject.
Like the pictures, the sound design on Rocket Rider is just as complex. I start the dub in Adobe Audition, but then I pass the baton to sound designer Owen Shirley, who completes the mix in Pro Tools.
This is Tower. Terminate the experiment.
Additional music is composed by Bruce Suter Smith, who creates a unique and dynamic score in his studio. Even in final post, there are re-edits, snags and delays. But finally, after building a Facebook page and a new website, Rocket Rider is ready to launch.
It's 1:30 in the morning, and I think I have finished Rocket Rider. It's a good job because I actually said I'm releasing it in 5.5 hours' time. I was having second thoughts a few hours ago, thinking I was going to cancel it and go back and start reworking it, but you know, as a famous saying goes, you don't finish a film, you abandon it, and I think now is the time to abandon Rocket Rider. I think it's good enough. It'll be interesting to see what people think of it. Exciting, really. We'll soon find out.
Peaking at number 12 on Vimeo's global trending chart. In just 2 weeks, the film is seen by over 2,000 people. Far more than if I'd taken the film on a year-long festival tour. The launch is a staggering success. The truth is, I did a lot of things wrong making this project, but in making those mistakes, I learnt an awful lot. About script writing, scheduling, and costume design. I've also learnt about set building, art direction, and visual effects. And I also learnt not to give up. Sure, this isn't the film that I originally wanted to make, but that doesn't matter. By learning how to fail, I've allowed myself to complete this project. In making this, I've met a whole bunch of people for whom I would never have met or worked with. And it's crystallised in my mind what I want to do. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What is important is that you stretch yourself and step into the unknown. So go on. If you fancy doing something yourself, go for it. Just maybe not as complicated as Doppelgänger.
Forgot what I was going to say. It's really hard thinking of things to say when you're stuck on the top of a ladder. Nah.